Warning, there are spoilers for Deadpool Wolverine in here, so if you have not seen the movie, make sure you go watch it before watching this video. And if you have seen it already, then please enjoy this video essay.
Are you ready? Fuck yeah, I'm ready. I'm the Wolverine.
2024 has been a very mixed year for Marvel, but a fantastic year for the X-Men. X-Men 97 has been met with much high praise from the Marvel fandom, and Deadpool Wolverine is set to have Hugh Jackman returning as arguably the franchise's mascot. So hype for Marvel is currently at a high, especially for the proclaimed Marvel Jesus.
I am Marvel Jesus.
First two Deadpool films were standouts in the comic book movie genre as they presented a unique flavor. Excellent humor, creative action, and fourth wall breaking goodness. The first two films were a treat to watch. When it was announced that Deadpool would be joining the MCU, with Hugh Jackman tagging along as Wolverine, expectations for the movie are extremely high. The question is if the movie is truly a standout and arguably the weakest phase of the MCU. The answer is yes, for the most part. The story. Deadpool and Wolverine takes place after the events of Wade's time travel from Deadpool 2. After getting rejected from the Avengers in the Sacred Timeline, Wade finds himself as a used car salesman and broken up with his loving girlfriend Vanessa. The TVA abduct Wade and try to recruit him into being a part of the main MCU timeline as his universe is slowly dying to the events of Logan. To save his universe, Deadpool wears the suit once again and goes in the search of the best Wolverine to replace the one lost in his world. After messing with other variations, both he and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine are sent to the Void, where they encounter many original Fox heroes and villains. Cassandra Nova, the evil twin sister of Charles Xavier, is constantly hunting the two mutants as she wants to seize control of all the universes and timelines. It's up to Deadpool and a very guilt-driven Wolverine to put aside their differences to save the multiverse. Cameos. As I've just gotten into the story synopsis, let's discuss the main subject that I'm sure that everyone clicking on this video wants to discuss. After Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness delivered very insignificant and unsatisfactory cameos, this film was an attempt at being a better promise than the prior. A lot of what works in this movie is in fact the cameos, the Easter eggs, and surprises throughout the entire movie. Many view this as being to the film's detriment, but I'd argue that this isn't meant to be a very well written story. It's meant to be more of an overall fan experience, and that's perfectly fine, especially with a character like Deadpool who plays up the comedy and ridiculousness of the events that transpire. The search of the perfect Wolverine has some amazing Easter eggs and cameos that are extremely special to comic book readers. We have the patch Wolverine from the classic comic book cover, Crucified Wolverine, which is also an iconic piece of art from the X-Men comic books. Also Short King Logan as well, which is just hilarious. Yes, that's how tall he would actually be if he was from the comic books. The Cavalrine, which was the biggest surprise for me personally, and I'd like to maybe see him going into the MCU further. Personal favorite was Hugh Jackman wearing the classic brown and yellow suit, recreating the famous comic book shot fighting the Hulk. I'm a massive Hulk fan, so this was quite a pleasant moment for me personally. In the Void, there are also many great cameos, some that were expected and many that I never would have guessed. Chris Evans returning as Johnny Storm and Deadpool not liking him because he wishes he was Captain America. Jennifer Gardner as Elektra looking all sorts of
Damn! Yeah, that brother's starving. Yes, sir, brother.
Also throwing shade at Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Wesley Snipes' Blade was the most surprising, and the man has still got it. Let's just hope that his remark about being the only Blade isn't a reality in the MCU. Daphne Keane is also a very welcome cameo as X-23 and provides a welcome emotional weight to the film. I just wish that it wasn't spoiled in the final trailer. That would have had so much more lasting impact if it wasn't. Also Channing Tatum as Gambit, that was a very fun cameo as well. This film truly feels as if it's celebrating what came before, a giant celebration of everything that worked in Fox before and others not so much, making this just an overall fun experience. Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds continues to just put love into his performance as Deadpool. He always feels as if he's using this character to reflect his redemption for X-Men Origins Wolverine. He feels as if he was born to play this role.
Wait! Time!
You look ridiculous. People have waited decades for this fight. It's not gonna be easy. Maybe nice. You shoot the double, you take him down. Side control, then full mount, and you ground and pound till he makes no sound because he's dead.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
He even brings more levels of fourth wall breaks, moments such as grabbing the boom microphone or even grabbing the camera, to digging up the grave of Logan, which may be in bad taste, but was probably the best opening of all the Deadpool movies, with him dancing to Bye Bye Bye. That was just an iconic opening for the MCU. In this movie, he weirdly feels even more like the character in the movie, and I didn't think it was more possible for him to become even more comic book accurate. However, this smirk with the mouth continues to surprise us. Wolverine. Hugh Jackman returns to the role of Wolverine, and I honestly was nervous about that because of how it might have been handled. Logan was such a perfect end to this character that I didn't want them to ruin the character's legacy. To my surprise, this film gives me the Wolverine that I've always wanted to see on screen. First of all, he's wearing that classic, beautiful yellow and blue suit. And yes, I blew up in theaters when we finally saw him put on the iconic mask.
What's happening?
Second, he's much more animalistic and aggressive, displaying his berserker mode in a way that we've never seen before. He feels like the unstoppable force from the comic books brought to life and fully embraces that R rating with the claws. I also enjoyed the personal growth his Wolverine goes through in the film, going from a man with much remorse, anger, and resentment to accepting his failed past that led to the X-Men's demise. His story is that of redemption, and it is clearly the emotional weight of the story and a very different take on a different version of the character that Hugh Jackman is clearly having a blast playing. Dogpool. Dogpool is just adorable. Why does she even win Ugliest Dog in Britain? Action. I can confidently say that the action sequences in this movie are fantastic. Probably some of the best Marvel action sequences since Avengers Endgame. Specifically the battles between Deadpool and Wolverine. These two characters with insane healing abilities just going at it is so entertaining, but also in the choreography. The first battle between these two is brutal, fun, well shot, and creative, and utilizing its characters' strengths and weaknesses. My personal favorite action sequence in the whole movie is their battle in the Honda Civic, as they utilize their unique powers, skill sets, and as well as their environment. They use everything in that battle. Windows, sunroofs, seatbelts, front bumpers, and the actual seats. It's just crazy. I also love the masked Wolverine and Deadpool battle against the Deadpool Corps. It felt like a side-scroller video game, which was a much welcome shot. Sean Levy, the director, really took not just Deadpool but Wolverine to the next level. Not perfect. With all the high praise that I have for this film, there are still some negatives in this film. The movie on its own, without the cameos, references, or the celebration of the franchise before, isn't very coherent. The story, when thinking about the concepts of anchor beings and Logan timeline placement, really feels disjointed and further creates confusion in the multiverse saga. I also believe that Cassandra Nova, though visually interesting, is another bland Marvel villain in the list. Interestingly, the Deadpool Corps are not alluded to much in the film except the setup of an actual great action sequence at the end of the film. And finally, the ending is very anticlimactic and really doesn't have too much of an overall effect on the MCU as a whole. and just feels like it does kind of just end abruptly, and it's just kind of like, alright, everything's done, out the door. In conclusion, Deadpool & Wolverine isn't a perfect movie and has a lot of major plot holes and story inconsistencies. I think from a story standpoint, the prior two movies are the better films. However, this movie is so much of a fun experience and just meant to be a crowd pleaser that I'd say it's probably the most rewatchable of the bunch. It's almost like Spider-Man No Way Home, and how that film isn't the greatest Spider-Man movie, but still very rewatchable. It gives me everything that I wanted from the movie and even more than what I was expecting. Fun, angry cop buddy dynamics between Wolverine and Deadpool that led to many fun sequences between the two. Sometimes a movie doesn't need to be well written to be an enjoyable watch if it tries to do well by the fans. Thankfully, this movie is the perfect example of service for the fans and has given me inspiration in giving the MCU another chance.